Okay, recording and yeah, it is recording now. So I don't know what the hell was the problem before, but let's not worry too much about that. Okay, I'm gonna yeah, I'll delete the old one. Excellent.
I
All right.
assume I assume
Yeah,
it
sorry.
doesn't I assume it doesn't let you record as a participant. I'm guessing that was the problem.
Yeah, but why the thing I don't understand is that why it thought I was a participant, because I was the one who set up the meeting. So
Yeah,
never
I'm not
mind.
sure.
Yeah. Well, we've lost the other people, it seems. Well, if you have a means of reaching out to them, just let them know to join this meeting. And otherwise, what we'll do is the same as last quarter. We'll just go around in circles. Maybe not today, because today is kind of optional. And you guys can feel free to update each other and also talk about anything that is relevant and helpful to other people. And then I can turn the laptop around and step away for a little while, where you can continue to help each other. Yeah, not with quest code, but related code and all. That's perfectly fine.
I have a question about some of the trophies and whatnot. So the blue and green quests, is that
Mhm.
still like extra credit as in if you've completed
No,
them?
no, they're not extra credit. They're actual credit.
Okay, so do the trophies count towards the class as well?
No, not the actual trophies, but you just need to have quest 9 in each, and you just get 10 and 20 points. Is it 10 and 20 points?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe 10 and 15. Yeah, I most of you guys, all of you guys who are here on screen, I think have completed the blue and green. You just need to upload all of your old code to the system one more time. Even if you don't, no, it's easier to just upload, because then I can just let the system handle it. I was thinking that I know that you've done it, so I can just go in and fill in the points, but it's easier if the system does it. Just upload.
Okay.
Yeah, where are the rest of the people? They oh, that is so funny. Okay.
There
I don't know,
was
maybe.
there was two links when I checked. Let me check on my side, see. No,
Uh-huh.
there's only one now, so I'm not sure where they are.
I think they probably clicked on the other one and they got lost. So I'll send out an announcement now, and hopefully it should reach everyone. And meanwhile, I can talk while I'm creating the announcement. So feel free to ask any questions you have. I'm just not looking at the screen, but
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited for this quarter just because of I especially like the idea of more like real world problems, just because for some reason I can sort of comprehend them better if feel like I'm solving something. So
yeah,
I think it will be less confusion about things that shouldn't be confusing, you know?
yeah, totally. I totally agree. And you'll get you won't get real world applications. I know, what you're saying is that if you had a real world application, it'll be even better. Um, yeah, we don't have a real world application, but you certainly get closer to reality here, because what you develop in this class, you can actually use in a real world application, very with very minimal changes. In fact, yeah, in fact, if any of you are facile with JavaScript, Python, or things like that, I can show you how to create an app, a world-facing web app, which utilizes one of these data structures in the background. Like you could use a try, and I think there's a game. There's a game called Anagram. It used to be on BBC very long time ago, where you have to I have to remember try to remember the rules. But Anagram, you can look it up on the net, I guess. It's actually a game show on TV, and you get a random jumble of letters, and then you have and then the participants have to find the longest word they can identify in it, and things like that. And it has to be a legal word, so it's checked as a dictionary. And the first person, so that's actually a very interesting and engrossing game. And a lot of people actually like it, even though it's so simple. And you can easily implement that using a hash table to store your dictionary. Yes, but however, but you can get to think in this class whether a hash table is in fact the most efficient representation for a dictionary, in which you don't need the meanings of words, but you only need to know if they're legal or not. So in other words, for each word, you don't need a string of value data for that key. You only need one bit to say, well, it's one, it's part of English, it's not part of English, zero. Yeah, so you only need one bit. So you get to think about clever ways in which you can use or create a data structure, or repurpose one you've already used, like a try in a previous quest, to or a bit set, right? Bit set, no, try I think is better, to encode the dictionary, so that this is a special kind of dictionary which doesn't take up that much space. It only takes up this much space because it doesn't store the values, it only stores the keys, but it will tell you very quickly whether a word is part of the dictionary or not, which, you can do that in a hash table. Even a hash table that has no payload, right? Meaning that I'm going to have a hash table in which the value is 0, only the keys are there, right? Even then, the hash table is less efficient, because it has to have overhead, right? So 25% of the hash table has to be empty. And so you can try to come up with interesting ways in which you can solve this problem, and you can create a real game that people will be able to play online. I can show you how to do that later, right? Maybe in after you finish quest 6, maybe week 7 or 8. No, week 7 or 8, you guys will be really, really busy, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, week later, when you have time, I'm happy to show you how to do all of that. So essentially, after this class, I think you don't need to be taught formally anything, because you would have learned the ability to teach yourself, essentially. And because you have a problem and someone says, well, you know what, I could use a red black tree right here, and then a priority queue there to give me the items in this particular order, which I can look up here, and then I can fill in this table, right? There's a real world problem that you would see in companies. And but they won't say it and couch it in those words. They're saying, oh, I want to use a red black tree here and a priority queue there, right? They'll say, oh, this is a business scenario, right here. This is my customer data. This is, these are my finance data things, right? So you got, and that's what the CEO will say. And you say, why? Okay, cool. It'll take me like, my team like 10 minutes to dig through the data and get you the number you want. Okay, and in your mind, even as the CEO is describing this problem, you're thinking, yeah, okay, I just need to stick the data in a red black tree and distill it like this. So you can do all that. So I think it'll be fun. The most important thing is for the other people who haven't done 2A and 2B to stay on top of things. So I think it may help for all of the other students to may help, right? To constantly make the newcomers aware that they have to stay on top of things. It's like 2A, I can understand that people can come to it, during Tuesday and Thursday, and then they're enrolled in many units, credits, so they can let 2A slip from their mind for a few days, and they can come back and do some stuff. Okay, all right, it'll work in 2A. I don't think it'll work as well in 2B. When you come back after some time, meaning you can go away and come back, but that's not what I mean. Going away and also removing that module from your head, so that when you come back, you got to reload it. That is bad. So going away on a walk, or even talking to other people, but still thinking about this problem in the background, I don't call that going away. So 2B, you cannot do that. 2B already is hard. If you go away and come back, you know that you got, oh, I took 10 hours away. Now I got to spend 30 hours to make up for the 10 hours lost. And 2C, I hope some of you will impress upon the other students who are new, is that that absolutely does not work, right? And students who are enrolled in more than 20 credits, they should pretty much drop this class unless they are C++ rock stars. They should drop this class unless they've already done all the quests in their spare time before. That would be okay. But coming back to this class occasionally, like a hotel check-in, is never going to work, I think, for 2C. Why is nobody here yet? Oh, because I didn't send the announcement. Okay. Zoom link working. Oops. All right. Okay, are you able to reach out to other people, Walter?
I'm not sure if I have any contact information for the ones I saw in the meeting.
Oh, I see. And
I
yeah,
could try sending something on Reddit. Maybe that will help.
yeah. Try Reddit, and I also post in. And meanwhile, I'll post in Canvas one more time so that everybody gets an announcement.
Okay.
Here is. Okay, I've sent the announcement, and you guys should hopefully have it. Yeah, hopefully you should have. You guys should have it now. But that's basically all I have to say. Since you're the only one here, I don't know who you will update other than me. And I know that you're on top of things. You don't need to update me. Is it my computer? It's my click is not working. Why is it? Oh, it is working. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you don't have to update me, Walter. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Other people who join the meeting, I'm happy to for them to update me if they want, or update each other. Actually, that's what it is. This meeting is for you to update each other, right? If you and I are the only ones here, you don't need to update me. And so I don't know where the other guys have gone. Today's an optional class. There are, well, I mean, there are a couple of professional development activities on campus, over Zoom too. I could click on them and join one of those to see what's going on. Yeah, see if it's interesting. If it's not interesting, I can get out of it. But personally, I think that interacting with you guys is a much better professional development opportunity, if there is one, because teachers are teaching profession, and they're teaching students. So we just need to take every opportunity to, right? That is basically it. You can well, Walter, you can update the other students on your own later on, either on Reddit is fine, or you can have a private Zoom session. If possible, you can record it and post it also, or send it to me and I'll post it. But I don't have anything particular to say this week. I can't. Yeah, I don't want to talk about any particular quest or tips or things like that today, right now, because it's an optional class, and maybe every class is optional, obviously, but for 2C, but hopefully more people will be there next time.
Okay.
That's it, Walter. So I am very excited too, just like you. I'm very excited for this class. There's a lot of interesting stuff that we can do, and there are a couple of algorithms that are not in the quests, but they are in the syllabus. And not in the syllabus, they're in Michael's modules. So the one that I had a dilemma about was right? Yeah, priority queues and Kruskal's algorithm. So oh, you haven't done it. Yeah, I mean, you were just starting out, right? It's quest number 8. There was I was deliberating whether to make that priority queues or heaps, binary heaps, which we will implement, or minimum spanning trees using Kruskal's algorithm, which is also a very interesting algorithm. It's an interesting proof. We'll talk about that and all. Interesting mathematical proof, not interesting mathematical proof. It's not obvious why it works, right? But if you follow that thing, it has to work, and it's easy to prove that it will work too. We can go over that. Yeah, I was thinking that's the quest I should have created, but it's better this way. You can do the priority heap, And then we can, depending on how it goes and how much time you guys have in week 9, we can implement Kruskal's algorithm for minimum spanning trees, or just pick up another. We don't have to do Kruskal's algorithm, right? We'll just have a tree, a graph here, and we have to identify, connected, non-connected, connected components without a loop, and it has to be the minimum possible weight. And we'll just say, well, what are the different ways we can do this, right? And then we won't talk about Kruskal or any of these algorithms. And I'm pretty sure that just out of the discussion, the algorithm itself, or the core of the algorithm, will just bubble up. Because you guys will say, well, you know what, if I want to do that, let me pick this arcs and the edges in this particular order. And then someone will say, oh, if you do that, you get a loop, and you can't have a loop in this graph, right? And then this person will say, oh, yeah, okay. Well, you know what, well, let's do that. But when we have a loop, maybe we won't do that, or things like that. And then you build that into an algorithm and say, okay, this is exactly what I want to do, right? I have this loop, a for loop or while loop, and inside the loop I'm just going to get edges and add them to my graph, which starts out with a single node, and then every time I find a loop, I will get rid of one of those edges, right? And then at the end, when there are no more edges left to add, I've got my span. So that is basically the algorithm, right? And many times people will, but why does it work? Why does it? Well, you get an unconnected, you get a connected graph without loops, but why? What reason do we have to say that is the minimum? Meaning that I can't add another edge, which will increase the weight of that edge, right? So that is a minimum possible weighted edges collection that you can have, which is no loops, acyclic, and the proof for that is subtle, and it's easy actually, and I think it may even be part of 2C. Doing the proof may be part of 2C. So that's why I like it that way. In fact, if you look at even other famous algorithms like Dijkstra's and things like that, I generally prefer not to go with the name of the algorithm, saying, oh, now we're going to do Dijkstra's algorithm or Kruskal's algorithm. No, they're all just algorithms. They've been around. Someone said, okay, well, this is a clever way to do this, right? Many people have done the same thing. So we shouldn't tag these things with people's names, I think, because then it says, it's also intimidating to students, saying, well, Dijkstra, he was like, he's an accomplished prof at Stanford or something like that. And, he came up with this algorithm. I can never come up with that. That is like totally wrong. In my experience, I find sometimes students come up with the most brilliant insights, and they come up with insights that have allowed professors to basically sharpen their algorithm for publication. And so by tagging work presented to students with names of famous people and famous institutions and things like that, doesn't do any help, any favors to them, right? They're saying, oh, those are in elite institutions. That is total bullshit. The students can do this if they're just presented the problem like a child, right? You say, this is a problem, how are you going to solve it, right? Then they'll actually come up with a solution, right? Whether it works or not is different, right? But the important thing is coming up with a solution, because if it doesn't work, then okay, then you can look at it and say, that's the reason it doesn't work, okay? And then there's one place where it doesn't work, I'll go and fix that. And then you discover more places, you fix all of it, and you got the algorithm, right? And so I think we'll follow that approach as much as possible in our class. Every time there's a problem, I'll just toss the problem out there, and then we'll just come up with solutions together. Or even if I'm not there, I turn the laptop around. You guys could say, hey, can we try this? Can we try this? Can we try this? And maybe, you say, hey, let's try this approach. And then while you're discussing it, maybe Arman or someone else is actually implementing what you just suggested and said, hey, Walter, I tried that and it worked, right? How cool would it be if you had a discussion like that, on YouTube later on? And absolutely fantastic, I think, right? Because you essentially ended up discovering something that was a major publication without having to have read about it, which essentially means that were you born 50 years ago and you were at this institution and you had this problem, you would have been the person that published that paper, essentially, right? Because you started on an equal footing with someone else and you discovered the solution yourself without being presented it. That is the reason why I banned CS2A and 2BC subreddit references this quarter, okay? Because I find that many students are in fact able to come up with really clever solutions, because I just look at their responses to other students facing problems, and they come up with some very nice ways of solving these issues and say, try this, maybe that's what's going on. And and but if we say you can access the past subreddits or look up on the internet, it doesn't help, because they'll just say, I want the points and the trophies. I'll just go look it up, the tip sheet, and I'll implement everything in the tip sheet and move on. And if someone moved on through CS2B and entered CS2C like that, I can bet, right? Exactly. Yeah. I can bet real money, in fact, because I have the actual odds that were calculated by my prediction system, right? So I can bet, it's 40%, 60%. So I can afford to bet, 40 cents on a $1 return or something like that. I can actually calculate that. So if someone just did that and didn't actually do the problems, but referred to the past or online and came through, I will bet against their success in 2C. Unfortunately, I don't want to do that, but the ones who, but this time, we have a lot of strong students in 2C, right? And who've gone through 2B and helped other people already, so they know already how to help people in a forum like this. So maybe students will actually benefit a lot more in this quarter. Even though 2B, even though the past subreddit is off limits, I think this will actually end up better than the previous classes I've taught, because there will be more interaction, more people saying this doesn't work, more people saying, well, try this, and so on. I think that usually makes for a far more interesting discussion. I don't have anything particular to say. Primarily, this class was to update each other, all of you guys. I will have a Zoom meeting at 7 p.m. today to onboard newcomers, freshmen to the questing system. So feel free to attend it, pass the word on. If anybody wants to attend it, they're free to attend it too. But other than that, just send me an email if you guys want to get together or catch up sometime, or in 2C especially, maybe not so much in 2B. If there are concepts, right, theoretical concepts, or even mathematical proofs that are a little elusive, right? I wouldn't say difficult. Elusive meaning it's there, but you just don't see it because you're trying to solve another problem. And the actual problem is here. How many times? It happens to everyone, right? No matter how experienced we are, when we're trying to solve a problem, many problems, the real problem might be here, but we latch on to some, red herring problem. And we spend a lot of time, and in the end, we find out we solved the problem, but still didn't solve the problem, right? And it happens all the time in life. And so, that is something that, I don't know what we're going to hopefully, this will be a fantastic class. I'm looking forward to it, right? So thank you all for enrolling. Pass the message on. I hope all of you will continue on and stick with the class and finish it. At the end of CS2C, you will feel it in your bones. I think most people will just feel it in their bones that they don't need any more C++ instruction, right? The only thing they need from that point, if they need anything at all, would be, domain knowledge in a particular field like machine learning or data engineering. How do I identify the mean in that data set when, you can't tell the mean? If you're given 4 billion numbers and ask what the mean is, right? So those kinds of things, you start thinking about those things. And I say, oh yeah, I can do that. And I can just do that in C++, right? So you start thinking about that, things like that. You won't have to, I can't say that for other C++ sections that I have personally done when I was a student, or even other experiences of other students in other institutions and other classes after having passed the 2C equivalent in their institutions. And if I talk to them, because I know, right, I've interviewed many of these people who've come from elite colleges too. And but I find that even though they have a lot of credentials backing them, they actually absolutely lack that critical thinking aspect, the computational way of thinking about things, which only comes through practice, right? We can be the most brilliant people on earth, but if we don't practice, we're not getting there. And so 2C is like that. 2B, generally all of computer science Yeah, we can't be Michael Phelps, like a swimmer, Olympic great swimmer, just by looking at all the swimming books and saying, oh, that posture, that posture, that posture, never going to work, right? But you can explain that to someone else, right? Someone says, how do you win this 100-meter sprint? You can say, oh, you know what, 100-meter sprint, the first 25 meters, you got to swim this stroke, right? The second 25 meters, that stroke actually helps. And the last stretch, you got to do that, okay? So you can explain that beautifully because you've read it in a book. And you know the motions too, because you can do it in the air, okay? But they throw you in a swimming pool and say, okay, now you do it and show me. You basically drown right there, right? So computer science is like that. Any art is like that. Acting, so anything you got to do, right? Anything you got to do. Even math is like that. And so it's a combination of mental as well as physical dexterity. Because I think if it's only mental dexterity, even then you need to be doing it, right? Because in math, you got to keep doing the proofs until it suddenly clicks. Because my experience is that in math, yeah, you learn a lot of proofs. You learn a lot of proofs, right? One after another, as you know. But really, you don't learn proving. In my case, what is it that you're trying to prove? Not just this LHS and that RHS. You're trying to prove the truth. And the fact that what you're trying to prove is not this particular thing, but that thing, of which this is a small instance. That dawning on the person takes a long time. It takes maybe, I don't know, 1,000 proofs, or maybe 100 proofs, I don't know, depending on the individual, right? And this is, eventually then they're working out on something, and all of a sudden, I think it's an epiphany. That's an epiphany, right? Happens in every single. I know, right? So even if you're practicing piano, right? I know, because my daughter, some pieces very, very complex, and they trying and say, oh, I'm never going to do it. It's not. My fingers are not, don't work. And I keep doing that every single day. And one day it just comes automatically. The fingers move, even if you're talking to someone else, your fingers move. Yes. I don't know if you're a piano player, Walter, but that kind of thing happens in art, right? It happened to me when I was doing ceramics with Andy at Foothill Studio, right? Because I used to go in during the studio hours, open studio hours, and things like that. And I used to be throwing thousands of pots, right? I keep doing that, and I keep thinking every time I do that, I say, how does Andy do it? Because he just he's talking to 50 students, and then he spends like 10 seconds sitting in front of my wheel, and he just takes a look at it and says, well, it's clay is uneven at this part of the bowl, right? How can he tell? I can't even see. I can't even see inside the clay, but he can see it. And he says, and I say, what do I do? And he says, he just picks up a needle and he just pokes my pot right in the middle, and he says, that's where the hole is. And lo and behold, that's where the hole is. And he says, and I tell him, how do we know? And he says, well, you can see it. If you're practiced long enough, you can actually see it. I can't see it. Or if you're not yet strong, if you don't have enough practice, you can just run your finger on the inside of the bowl, right, as it's spinning, and you'll notice a bump. And I do that, and I don't notice a bump. It's like, smooth. It's very smooth. But then I keep doing that, and I say, I just trust him. And I say, okay, well, what Andy said must be true. I'll keep doing that. So I went in again. And after a while, I just see it. I just feel the bump, even though it's, it's just there. And that is the way in all of these sciences, where you just have to keep you trust me and say, I got to keep doing it. Even though it feels like I'm not going to be a computer scientist sometimes. For some of the newcomers in CS2C who haven't done extensive coding, it may feel like that. You just have to trust me and keep going. At the end of this class, if anyone has actually persevered and sincerely put in the effort, they would be rockstar material. Every company that is a software company, I can assure you, right? All the top software companies out there, you would be a gold nugget, and they would be competing over you, trying to hire you. And that's where, because, once you're there, you can say, well, you can make a choice. You say, I'm just going to do my own thing. You can start your own company, and because you know how to do it. You don't have to do it for someone else. So those are all of those possibilities open up, which didn't exist before. And that's why I say, So I'm going to be harping on and on about this all through this quarter, just saying, stay on top of things, guys, stay on top of things, because in 2C, nobody gets a breather. In 2B, there were 2 breathers, right? There was a breather after Quest 4, and I think there was a breather after Quest 8. Obviously, it's a freebie. After Quest 4, there was 1 breather. Okay. In 2C, I don't think there are any breathers after the first one. The first one is easy because it's just, it's just getting the subset. After that, it'll be hard. I don't know, 2 and 3, okay. It's just matrix multiplication, simple algorithms. After that, it'll get exciting. It'll get exciting. And all right. So I'm very happy. Thank you all. Thank you, Walter, for sticking around, right? And getting back into this meeting too, which was appreciated. I appreciate that greatly. Thank you all. Thank you. And like last quarter, I'm already grateful to you for attending and helping other people. So I hope to see more of you.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to it. All right, thanks so much.
No worries at all. So we can end the meeting now, and try and get other people to attend on the next Monday.
Okay.
You can also, if you like, you can, if possible, and I'll do it if you don't, start a Reddit poll saying, we tentatively have Mondays at 1 p.m. But if people want some other timings, just let's do a poll, close in 4 or 5 days, so that next week onwards we may pick a different time, which works for more people. Okay? Otherwise, we'll keep it at 1 p.m. on Monday for now.
Okay.
And I hope to see you all. First couple of weeks, you're going to be most of the other people are going to be working on. Actually, that's not true. We get most of the students in my class are the ones that have already done my 2B. So most of you are going to be working on 2C quests. But there are a bunch of students who will be doing blue and green. So I just want to put a small request in here for you and for other people too. Keep an eye out when you have time in the blue and green subreddits. And if there are people that are struggling, just help them. You can also say, I'm currently doing 2C, but I just popped in to help because I'm still in Foothill, right? So you can say, I'm helping you, and this is what you need to do. And or here are some tips and please help people in 2A and 2B also. I'm there to help them, but I think that receiving help from other students I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're a student, you probably know. I think that for a student, receiving help from another student feels hugely better and more reassuring, informative, better in many ways, many dimensions, right, than getting it from a teacher. If I told a student, however, a flowery, nicely I phrase it and explain it, I think if another student explains it, they will just lap it up, right? It goes straight into their neurons without any filtering. And I think it's maybe, I don't know, psycho, it's just a hypothesis. I think it is because students have a feeling that other students are also in the same boat as themselves. They're also struggling, so that their problems are more likely to be my problems also. So let me listen to them. Whereas if I say something, I think there's always a 10 to 50% chance that the student probably thinks that, well, what does the professor know? They've not struggled like me. They're probably giving some high-level advice here. It's not going to apply to me. So even if it may be useful, they're going to pepper it with some level of uncertainty and not look at it as seriously as they do from students. That's why I'm always encouraging students to answer student questions. And I try to stay out of it unless it is something that nobody has taken up on themselves to answer. Then I might chime in and answer. But I absolutely love the fact that students are jumping in to help each other. That's the way it should be. Because, in a few years, you're all going to be working together. Maybe you're going to be doing companies and hiring your own classmates, or maybe getting together and starting a company. All of those things, right? And it's all going to be you guys. It's all going to be you guys, right? That's the next generation. That's what the world will look like. And so helping each other is the best possible way to basically move forward, faster. And always, 2A, especially, I don't know, in the Bay Area, it's such a competitive culture that I think, strangely enough, After for my section now, it used to be the case that students were very, very competitive, right? And they were trying to get a leg up over others, and they were secret help. They would come and ask me for solutions in office hours. And then later on, I find that that solution is, nobody else knows that. Only this person knows it. And they knew it only because I gave it to them in an office hour. Otherwise, they would also be in the same boat. So they're not helping each other. And then after I started the questing system and then started enforcing these things that people have to help each other, I find the classes not as competitive, and the students who are competitive generally just migrated. I don't know, maybe it's Rate My Professors and all these other sites out there that say, or the Foothill thing on Reddit that say, where you can go and always you can see students. I want to do this, chemistry 2A. Which professor gives easy A's? Right? Would I get an A here? And people are always asking these questions. That is the stupidest thing to do, right? So that's like going into a bar with a $20 bill. I got $20. Who can pour me the least, the worst tasting whiskey? Right? So that's, you're saying I got money, but I don't want to take the whole thing. I'll just take the worst thing you got. And so students pay $200 for this class or $170 for this class, and then saying, well, I paid the money, but no, I don't want it. I just want, an A. Who gives me the easiest A where I don't have to do any work or learn anything? I'll just take it and go on. That's the stupidest thing to do. There you go. That person does not even deserve an A, right? Because, they can't think clearly. And so that has not been the case. In my classes, these students have basically migrated to other sections where I can see, right? They're asking questions on the Foothill subreddit, and they're checking out the Rate My Professors pages and all these other places, and they form a good hypothesis about where they can go to get the maximum grade for the least amount of work. And yeah, well, maybe they'll get flying colors with all A's and so on. But they're going to struggle a lot in college, and they're not going to make a big name for themselves, or not that making a name, they're not going to create something really cool and useful out there. And so if the aim of a student is to eventually master the subject in order to make a difference in the world, I want to do something that is going to change the whole world, make the average happiness of citizens on the world 1% better than it was before. So I want to create something. An iPad, for example, that little kids can use to learn, didn't used to exist before. So I want to do something that will change the whole world, and if that is the attitude, then don't go, I think, for the easy courses. Enroll in a few courses only, and not too many units. And the ones that we do enroll in, we just do wholeheartedly, because the goal is not to get the credit, but to learn in order to change the world. And I'm happy to help anywhere, right, on that journey. Thank you, Walter, for your time and listening to me ramble on and on. So I'll see you again on Monday, I hope, if you guys don't mind.
So regarding the poll, do you want me to make like a yes or no to is everyone okay with Monday, or should I go straight to, hey, what day do you prefer?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think, how did I do it last time? Yeah, I did I did a poll. I did a first poll to get some dates and times, and a second poll to choose between those. But we want to do it in one poll. How can we do it in one poll? Yeah, you can do one poll and say, yeah, I think this may work. You can say, if you're okay with Monday 1 a.m., say yes. And the other option is not okay. But if you're not okay, then you suggest something in the comments, some other time in the comments. And then what we can do is we can just total up all the times in the comments and say which one has the highest vote. If it's more than, for two, that we'll take that.
Okay, yeah, I can go make that post right now.
Great. Thanks, Walter. All right. And so give my best to all of the other classmates in class. Yeah, this is also on Canvas. I didn't see anyone in, I don't know, maybe I think I saw Tian, maybe Tuan wasn't at Foothill, because I think I saw a whiteboard behind him, but everybody else is at home, which is fine. Personally, I find even in 2A, I find an order of magnitude more student engagement over Zoom. than when I was in teaching face-to-face. Because you can look at my videos, right? Even from back in the day when I was teaching face-to-face, those were also recorded. Some of them were recorded by students and put on our nonlinear media channel. But you'll see that many of the students in the back row, they weren't really engaged. And they were watching YouTube sometimes. I wander around and I look at the screens and they're watching YouTube. And I don't know, I can't say no watching YouTube. You got to listen. It doesn't work. So this way, it actually works because in Zoom, you got to be looking at the screen. You can't be watching in YouTube. And then sometimes I ask students questions and they respond. So fantastic engagement. So I think that this whole shift to virtual has been a boon for at least computer science education in many ways. I absolutely love it. So thanks. I will see you on Monday.
Perfect. See you then.
All right.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
You too.